Hello everybody and welcome back to the world of Factorio. My name is Cilantro. Let's get right back into it. Last time we spent quite a bit of time working on a new smelter array and it is finished. And so now, finally, after a number of episodes, we can actually get some work done on automating some production. So I need to take a quick look at roughly how I want to position the bus system that I had mentioned. I'd like to be able to have the bus run north-south for a long while and be able to pull things off of it and put things back onto it as needed. So roughly about where I am right now seems like a pretty good spot to start working the bus. So here we go. Just going to extend these out here a little bit. And yeah, this should be fine. That should be fine. Okay. So we'll just have the copper running up this way, and we're going to need to create a large amount of transport belts. So that's fine. I will likely end up needing to slightly redo the orientation of all these things, because if I remember right from last episode, the different items sort of come in at a different rate. Like you can kind of see, like right here, it's filling in on this side more than it's filling in on this side, and I'm just worried about these all being consumed and used at the same rate to make sure that everything stays all nice and even. Because the whole point of me trying this double-sided approach, meaning that I use both sides of a conveyor, it is to make sure that everything throughout the entire system is being used evenly. So anytime I take one plate off, I should be taking two plates off to ensure that I have no issues with materials being overly pulled from one side, therefore causing a huge imbalance in the system in general. So to start off, I'm going to be making sub-products involving the two types of material. We have copper and we have iron. The most commonly used sub-product for each of these is pretty easy to set up and build. For example, the subproduct most used from iron is iron gear wheels, and the most used subproduct from copper is copper cable. So we're going to get these set up. So for the first split, this is pretty easy. I'm just going to have the main bus continue here, and I'm going to have a side route. What do we need more of? We need more iron. Let's go grab some. Actually, we need more iron. Let's go grab some. I wonder where I could find some iron. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Where can I find some iron? Please help. Yeah. And see, we're actually kind of running into a problem here where they're all filtering in at a different rate. So we may have to mess with this some more, but that's okay. We'll get it all figured out. The nice thing is that because we've given ourselves a little bit more room than we otherwise normally would have, we have a lot of recourse for altering things without worrying about them becoming too, too skewed from what they were originally supposed to do. So we're going to have the iron continue over this way. I'm going to need to create some crafting stations, some assembly machines. I'm just going to start with one of each for now, and we can expand as needed. I'll need another set of crafting machines for the other side, of course. So let's get these right here. We don't really have to extend this too far, and then we'll bring the line back over this way, and now we have extended the bus, as you can see. So we'll get a crafter machine for each of these set up, and so what we will do is we will have one arm pulling from each side. So you can see how we have this one is being pulled across, and then we'll be depositing off to the different side. So we'll have two lines being one being pulled from, one being placed to, running parallel to each other to make this a lot easier. And we can just facilitate this by using extended arms versus regular arms. And hopefully, I'm hoping that I can do this in a way that isn't going to cause any jam-ups. Like, for example, I could, if I need to, I can actually have two of the extended arms in each direction. That will allow me to ensure that, because the extended arms aren't quite as quick as fast inserters were, there won't be any issues with running out of one material over the other because of an uneven distribution of the product. So Hopefully. That's the idea, at least. Okay, so this is the iron line, so we are going to produce iron gear wheels. Iron gear wheel. And actually, I should probably be doing it like this instead. There we go. Actually, no. Sorry. Other way around. There we go. And there we go. So everything should be even here now. As you can see, each side of this conveyor is being pulled from once. Obviously, it has to catch up now since I was not able to actually do it properly there. But each side is pulled from once, and each side is deposited to once, meaning that this should, in theory, retain its ability to maintain each side evenly. That's the hope. That's the hope. That's the American dream. I'm going to give myself a little bit of light here so we can see. Might as well make sure I make this place look nice while I'm making it. At least as nice as I can. And then we will do the same thing over on this side for the copper cables. One of the technologies I'd like to get researched very soon is if I could remember if my brain would work. Oh, right. The better belts. The faster belts. Actually, let's see if I can get those done here soon. Where are we doing those? Ah, there we are. Logistics 2, and we need Science Pack 2s for that. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's see here. So I'm going to need 4 more of these and 2 more of those. So we'll get those all underway. And how far out are we going here? I guess I could place these down. One right there, one right there. Looks about right to me. So we'll have our extender arms right here and right here. And then we will have our not so extender arms right here and right here. So let's see. Grab this and up this way. There we go. There's the line. We will need another electric pole and a copper cable to be created. Actually, I did this backwards. I'll make sure this is running perfectly smoothly by maintaining symmetry as best we can. I do know that copper cables do need to be produced in quite a large quantity, so there's a good chance that I will have to have more creation available for these, but that's fine. That's why we are setting ourselves up to work like that. But until I get to that point, I need to make sure that I am doing what I can. Actually, looks like this is pulling quite evenly from there, so that's good. Okay, so we've already made our first 2 subproducts. So far, so good. I think I'm going to like this layout because it allows me to expand things in a very intuitive way. Basically, I'll be using the products that are at the beginning of the line for the most generalized things, and then as the products move further and further down the line, they'll become more specific. Actually, to that end, since we are going to be expanding this way, and I do need some extra conveyors, let's go ahead and grab as much as we can here. So I know that I will be needing a steel line at some point as well, so I will have to get something like that set up pretty soon, because I will need steel more quickly than I think. But steel will likely be something that will be made a little bit further ahead. So let's take a look at all the different products that we have and what we might want to actually make here. So we're going to need transport belts for sure, just in terms of just the logistics of we're going to need transport belts. But it's also true that transport belts are used in Science Pack 2s, so there's good incentive to actually make those at some point. So we can work on transport belts. Also, we're going to need Science Packs number 1, so we'll be working on those as well. Science Packs number 1 and Science Packs number 2. So what I'm thinking here is that the next things we'll be doing are working towards the inserters and working towards the automation of transport belts. So let's go ahead and set up a transport belt station. That seems pretty logical. And then across from the transport belt station, I think we're going to make some electronic circuits, because those are also very much in demand. So we're going to need some more crafting stations here, which I do not have the materials for. Oh man, if only I was in an area where I could just pick up a bunch of materials. I would like to have some sort of an overflow system wherein I can capture extra parts as needed from anything as required. So, try to get that figured out here. Okay. So, I'm going to extend these buses a little bit here, give ourselves a little bit extra room. I don't want to make these too compact next to each other. I want to give myself a little bit of space. We have plenty of space around this area, and I see no reason to worry about making things ultra compact, because I want these to be expandable, redesignable, and all that. So I'm going to give myself a full 3 blocks in between each of these events here. So actually, it looks like these are a little closer than they. Oh no, they're not. No, we're good. Okay, we're maintaining our symmetry here, so that's not a problem. So we have each of these sides here. One of these will be for the transport belts. One of these will be for the circuits. Circuits are definitely another base material that is going to be used for a large quantity of things. Okay, so we need we need 4 blocks in between. 3, 4, meaning they should go here. There we go. And these will be set up to make the, I guess we'll do the transport belts on this side, because we're going to need them. So, transport belt. Let's extend these up here. And for the transport belts, we require gears and iron plates. So, it's a pretty straightforward one to split off here, hopefully. I may need to give myself a little bit more room, but we'll see. Of course, I need to make sure that I am splitting properly. I may actually need to move this back a little bit, which is fine. So let's do that. And the lines need to go here. So we're also in kind of a precarious situation here where we need to actually pull 2 different materials, which just dawned on me that I actually have to pull 2 different sets of materials. So the output line is going to have to be worked a little differently, but that's okay. We can figure that out. That's not a problem. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to stick with the same fundamental design here so far. We'll move this over here, just like we did before. And I'm going to have the same set of lines being moved here as well. So I'm going to have this be curved under here. Okay, so we still have 2 that we're going to be pulling from. It's just that the outputs are going to be placed in a different area. So that will be quite doable. Make sure our bus is all set up and retains its integrity. And there we go. So now our bus is still moving forward, which is the whole idea. So now we are at a little bit of a situation here, because if I want this to be infinitely expandable to the right, in case we actually need more transport belts, not that I believe that we would for this current location, but just for the sake of future designs, we might as well figure something out now. I need to come up with a way that will allow me to get these parts distributed as they're needed appropriately. So there are a number of ways I can try to do this. I'm a little wary of some of these, but let me try something initially here that may possibly work, and that is just to use a splitter. And we'll see if using a splitter will actually get the job done in an even manner, which is the real important part. I do remember testing something like this before, which may not quite work properly, but we'll see. So what I'll do here with the splitter as such is I can deviate these materials and create a line in the middle where all of them will be deposited, and then that will be then converted into a new bus. So right now I'm kind of just sketching this out here, but if this can manage to keep the materials evenly distributed, this actually will work just fine. But that is the key here, and actually I can already see a little bit of a problem where they're not getting distributed. Oh, that's because of, right. It's because of that there. There we go. There was our first problem there, but we solved it. Just to make sure we're keeping these as even as possible. Let's do that. So, and again here, we're having a very strange, uneven distribution. So I'm kind of thinking that due to the nature of how these lines are set up, part of this probably has to do with the fact that I'm pulling way more gears off than I actually am making at this point. But we still have to be very cautious about this. So let's try to do this from a different perspective here. Let's go back to pulling from one line and then outputting onto a different line, if at all possible. We may have to think outside of the box here too. Another option, just straight up option, is just to pull from one end and put in from the other end. So for example, we could do this. We can just put all of these on a single line here, and what we can do then is use some creative use of our extender arms to position things back into the system here. So let's try something like that. I actually have an idea for this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, let's just extend this line here. Let's just get this way out here and accessible. Okay, so there we go. We have our line being fully accessible now. So I'm going to, just as before, with this particular case, we're going to try to make them on each side. I'm going to make them out here. That way I have plenty of room to work with. This is going to require a little bit of finagling, but it should be able to work. We're going to need a bunch of each of these different inserters, so we will grab those. And we can go ahead and set up these, of course, to be creating transport belts as they are needed. The nice thing about making something like transport belts is that when the only actual material that I know of that they're actually used in terms of something other than transport belts is for the science packs. Science pack 2s require transport belts. So that is one thing that they'll be used for, but they're also a material in the higher tier of the transport belts. So while we may be making an excess of these based on how much science we actually need, what will actually end up happening is that we can later down the line just simply make a constructor for the higher tier transport belts by using these transport belts, ensuring that we manage to have a constant flow of materials that are useful later, especially when we get to the more full automation. So, okay, so for this we need to have one inserter pulling from each side of the line here. So we have one inserter that will be pulling the gears, one inserter that will be pulling the iron. Hopefully this is actually enough to supply it. If not, we're going to have to work on something else, but that's fine. We can manage that. And then the other option here, the other thing that we should probably be doing is actually depositing the materials, and we're going to do this in a sort of fancy way. I'm going to put a belt, or rather an inserter, a long inserter, right in the middle of the belt, and then I'm going to use a underground inserter to move past it. And so what I'll be doing then is depositing the product on this side, and I'll be doing so with an underground belt as well. And if I do this correctly, I should be able to create a mirror of some sort. If I can't, that's fine. We can just try to redo it. Let's see if I can actually manage this here. So I guess I will need a one here as well, one here like that, and then one like this. And then I should just be able to do the exact same thing, moving that there. I think that'll work. I think that will work. So now what I need to do is route these belts back this way, and I will actually use this as an opportunity to switch these over to underground belts. A lot of underground belts going to be used to really make this transport the way that it needs to. There we go. And this will then cycle up this way. There we are. And these two will meet together. Like so. We're going to get another splitter and put the product there. And so now, once this is all powered, and I will actually make some more lights as well. Gotta make sure I'm keeping it bright for you guys. Make sure you can all see the beautiful, beautiful gameplay. Let's see here. For now, we will just place these on the outsides like so. This should give us enough coverage for now. And the lights, let's see here. Place them on the outside edge of each of these. That's fine. Looks like we are starting to produce some. Okay. And And it looks like they are being placed onto the belts more or less evenly, which is exactly what we wanted. So there we go. It's a lot of work for now. Looks like it works. It may not be quite as efficient, because it does look like it's not able to dump the products quickly enough. Yeah, just judging by how these are actually set up, it looks like the products are not being dumped quickly enough, so we may have to set up another conveyor somewhere to potentially pull. Another option here is to make these in pairs, to have the input line be here and the output line in between each, which then funnels in and out around. But for now, this is working just fine. Not a problem at all. So, okay, we have our transport belt line done. And yeah, I think we have enough time this episode to do the other side as well, which will likely have to be handled in a very similar manner. So let's split the lines off here. We're going to need, I believe, copper. What do we need here? This is for the electronic circuits. Iron plates and copper cables. Okay. So let's split the copper cables off here. We can do that around... Let's do that around here. Should be fine. Whoop, wrong way. Curving them around this way, as we did on the other side, since these also only need 2 ingredients. And now we can split the iron, which we will do. I'll actually do this back here, just to be on the safe side. We're going to need another splitter. And let us duplicate the design as such. We'll also need a few more of these while we're working at it. So we're going to split the iron right here. And this is going to be sent up this way. Actually, why am I making these manually? I just created an automation process for this. Let's grab some conveyor belts, shall we? There we are. And we also need to be pulling from each of these sides. And actually, we need to be pulling from these sides, because if we don't, it's going to be harder to make the underground belt do its thing. So now we will replace both of these, each with a cross conveyor. These will then be... Actually, no, we're making this way too close here. Way, way, way too close. I did not give myself nearly enough room. Time to redo. Alright, let's try this again. Give ourselves enough room to actually do the things that we're doing. And actually, just to figure out exactly how close I can make it, I'm gonna go ahead and make the sort of finished combine over here as well. Ensuring that we do not overlap anything. Okay, so we should be able to do a another bus right there, curving in, and then this will be pulling from this, which is then getting replaced here. And we need 2 more underground belts. Bamity bam. Underground belts. There we are. And now we should just simply be able to bring these parts in. So now we have the finished product belts set up. There we go. Alright. Okay. We are making some progress. Man, I cannot wait to see this thing in its full glory when it's all finished. It does feel a little weird not maximizing every last little bit of space and giving myself enough room, but I know for a fact that it's going to work out overall much better in this way. Also, it would probably help if I actually moved the cable, or the copper rather, through so it can continue to do what it's doing. Likewise, it would probably help if I moved the copper cables in the same fashion, routing them around the underground conveyor belts so that their line is continuing to move, as you can see. So it'll work out quite nicely. And let's see here. So now we can actually build these over in this direction. Let's give ourselves enough room again. How much room do we give ourselves over there? We give ourselves 2 spaces. So right there and right there. Now I can do what I was doing. Actually, no. Right here and no. Right here and here. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, so we need the extender arms. Zoom out a little bit here so we can see those are in the middle. Those are in the middle. Come on. You know you want to reach. There we go. And then we have these on the outside, which are going to be pulling from there. And then we'll also have these pulling from here. And then we need some underground belts. Series of underground belts. These are needed to transport the products further this way. And these are needed to transport the products this way. And we need one more. There we are. We will also need power, of course, and lights. So we'll make some power. We will make some extra lights. There we are. And the lights. Now all we need is some cameras and action, and we're in good shape. Well, plenty of action. I guess we have a camera looking down and everything, so we have everything. Time to make a movie. There we are. Last step is to actually make the finished product, ensuring that we did iron plates and copper cables as we needed. There we go. Iron plates and copper cables. There we go. And we should be good. Now, one thing I actually am kind of worried about, and I'm just noticing it right here, right now, is that, unfortunately, one of these has to reach across to grab a large number of copper cables relative to the other products, so we may actually need to implement a different system for this, just in the interest of actually being able to keep up, because copper cables, in this particular case, are used at a 3-to-1 ratio, and therefore need to be pulled much more quickly from the line than they otherwise would, so this may require a little bit more finagling than I realized at first. I think for now we'll just leave it because we're getting a little tight on time here on this episode. But for the future, we're definitely going to need to look into that. That is a problem that needs to be resolved. So let me just finish this off right here. There we go. There is our bus producing large quantities of products as needed. Excellent. In the meantime, I will see you guys next time for some more lovely Factorio. Thanks for watching.